Okay, story time with Max Power. So, you know what? I'm tired of all the negativity on fucking Facebook and social media in general. So now I'm just gonna resort to just telling stories. So here's the thing: grab a beer, roll a joint, load a bowl. I'm gonna tell you all the story on how I got this scar I have here above my head. You can't really see it a whole lot right now. My hair's a little bit longer. Some people have seen it. Nobody ever asks about it, but it's there, and it's funny story because the few people that have actually asked me about the scar, I've told them straight out, oh, my friend John gave me that scar, and they're like, wait, your friend gave you that scar? I said, yeah, we got into a fight. We were drunk. Oh, surprise, surprise. Now here's the story of how that happened. A long time ago, I used to go to the strip club a lot. And my buddy John, I used to work with him at Black Eyed Pea. He was one of the cooks. I was the server slash bartender slash host slash busser slash everything. And he used to take me to stilettos like every single fucking day. Now, full disclosure, why the fuck not leave it out of the story? Not important, but you know what? It happened. I used to sell drugs to the strippers. Hey, you can't bust me for shit that I already did, right? But yeah, it happened. So we used to go there all the fucking time. And they had a badass happy hour, dollar whales, dollar drafts. You know, the girls were cool as shit. We used to go all the time. They loved us. We were always respectful. You know, they would sit and bullshit with us. Good times. Well, one afternoon, me and John got totally fucking lit up. And we ended up back at his apartment. Now, here's the funny part about it is the apartment that he lived in at the time was the apartment that I used to live in. I was the prior tenant. You know, when I moved out, I referred him to my landlady. He moved right in after I did. And I moved in, you know, not too far from there. So that night, I drove. I had my little truck back then. And here's where it got crazy. Because we got hammered at the club, right? And then we got even more drunk at his place. Now, at his place, our mutual friend James showed up. James was one of the dishwashers at Black Eyed Pea, and we worked with him. This is tobacco, by the way, in case you're wondering. And so we're hanging out, we're smoking, you know, drinking, you know. Now remember, James was not at the club with us. It was me and John and a mutual friend of ours that left later on before anything went down. Now, here's what I remember. Okay, pay attention. It's gonna get a little. We're gonna play some little Quentin Tarantino a little bit. I remember at one point yelling. Uh, oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to mention he had dogs and he had a couple of pit bulls. One of them's name was Hades, beautiful Staffordshire. At one point, I was getting really loud, and I remember at one point stating, "I don't fucking care if Hades comes and tries to bite me. I hope she does." And the reason I said that, it was in response to John saying, "David, you need to shut the fuck up. You're being too loud and you're getting Hades riled up." I was responding to that statement. The next thing I remember is me chasing after John down the stairs of the little apartment complex, telling him, "Get the fuck back here. Where the fuck are you going?" To which John responded with, "Right here." Now, here's the thing. My friend John, well, he's not my friend anymore. I think he probably still hates me. He was a Marine, so he was trained. He knew how to fight. And I know how to fight to an extent. Basically, I know how to subdue somebody, but I'm not a fighter per se. Like I like to avoid it altogether. You know, I don't antagonize the situation. So he was ready to fight. I was not, and he fucking nailed me in the forehead. And it's what he called was the stunner because that's exactly what it did. I was like, oh shit. After that, the next memory I have is me looking up at him, just punching the shit out of my head, basically. Now, here's the thing. This is what tells me that I should be an MMA fighter because he didn't knock me out. He did cut my head open because he was hitting me barefisted. Didn't knock me out. mutual friend James that I mentioned earlier was there. He literally tackled John off of me, calmed him down. Now, I cannot see my face, so I do not realize that I am bleeding from the head. But in my drunken, angry stupor, I was like, fuck this shit, I'm going home. Now, bear in mind, if y'all don't recall, I drove us to the apartment. So my truck is literally sitting right in front of the apartment complex, and James and John both, because guess what, we're all friends, and we concerned about each other. They're like, David, you can't drive home, you're fucked up. And I said, fuck both of y'all, I'm not driving, I'm walking. I didn't live that far, it was like a 30-minute walk. That was the last thing I remembered from the night. Next thing I remember, boom, fast forward, I wake up, my fucking head hurts. I'm like, oh, what the fuck happened last night? I get up and bear in mind, remember I said, this used to be my apartment complex, so I know the layout. So I get up and I stagger to the bathroom, and then I just see all this dried blood, like all down my face. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Now, I understand the things that I mentioned a moment ago that happened, that I remembered. All of that shit I remembered after I looked in the mirror and saw the dried blood on my face. So everything that I told you, I did not realize happened until I saw that shit. About half an hour later, John wakes up, and the first thing he says is, dude, I'm so sorry, are you okay? And I say, I'm good. What the fuck happened last night? And he looks at me and he says, dude, I don't fucking know. So now the mystery is like, okay, wait. I remember you beating the shit out of me, but that's fine. We were drunk, shit happens. What I want to know is, what started the fucking fight? And John looks at me and says, dude, seriously, me too. Max Power out. To be continued. Y'all be safe out there. More importantly, be grateful.